Well, good evening. How's everyone doing tonight? The days are getting longer, it's gonna get warmer. Something we can certainly all appreciate. I'd like to call this meeting to order of the East Porter County School Corporation, the business meeting on Monday, February the 9th, 2026. Could we all stand for the pledge of allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First thing on the opening items is public input on agenda items. Do we have anybody wanting to speak tonight, Mrs. Carter?
No, nobody has signed up.
Okay. So I want to give people opportunity to do that. And the next business item is the consent agenda consisting of items 2A, approval of minutes, executive session from January the 26th, 2026. Item 2B, which is approval of the minutes, business meeting of January the 12th, 2026, and approval of the work session for January the 26th, 2026. Next item is 2C, financial matters payroll, and that's the payroll cover and deductions from February the 9th, which is tonight, 2026. And then financial matters claims list, which is also a cumulative docket summary of February 9th, 2026. And 2E, which is approval of the personnel report from February 9th, 2026. So I am looking for a motion and a second for the consent agenda.
Just for clarification, Mr. President, we're talking about the revised personnel,
Yes.
just for clarification.
Revised personnel report, that is correct. So moved by Mr. Martin. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. McFall. Any discussion? Question?
I have a question. Would we have the ability to table one of the items on the personnel report, specifically retirement of Dr. Aaron Case? Is that something that we could table individually? Make motion to table that individually, so we could have more discussion about his post-retirement health insurance package.
You can certainly make that motion.
I'd like to make that motion.
Is there a second? There's no second, then we would keep the revised personnel report the same as it is. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of the consent agenda 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and 2E, signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Opposed, same sign. 1. Motion passes 6-1. Next item on the agenda is action items.
Before we go there, I just would like to bring to the board's attention, Mrs. Snyder is here this evening.
Oh, we do have someone on the revised personnel report. Who is this new person?
And that's one of those things. I had the pleasure to meet with her recently to talk about coming back and helping us out fill the maternity leave. I just wanted, being that she did make the effort to come in tonight, I
Sure.
wanted
Oh,
to make sure
definitely.
that I publicly say thank you for helping us out.
Yes, you're welcome.
We're glad to have her back.
Thank you.
My
son will be thrilled.
Do you have any comments you'd like to have recorded here and be on video? Bring all your past trauma
Just, it was,
experience?
when I met with him, he's like, I bet you never thought you'd be back here, would you? And I said, no. Because he said, I'm like, I'm done. But I'm very happy to come back and make life a little easier for everybody, because I know it's not an easy position to fill.
We appreciate you coming back. I know you missed us and the kids probably more than us, so you do a great job. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Policies, 3A is first reading of policies.
So in front of the board, and tonight's just the first reading to go through. There is the electronic participation by board members in board meetings. We had discussed during our work session that the change would just be limiting the ability to utilize electronic participation, not to include executive sessions. Policy 4323, which is in truancy, actually going to ask the board to eliminate that particular policy because we have encompassed the truancy in the attendance policy, which is 4320. And you recall from the work session that we had 2 weeks ago, basically just working on some language so that it is more clear to help in the implementation with buildings and parents. And then 4200, our wellness policy, we had gone through and made some adjustments according to our meeting. And then it was asked by a board member to put something in there about weight and measurements being dignified. So we made that alteration as requested. No formal action this evening, just going through for the first reading.
Anybody have any questions, comments? Okay, and then we'll move into action item 3B, which is approval of new courses for the 2026-2027 school year.
So Mrs. Schmick has been working with the buildings to look at additional courses for the 26-27 school year. So we asked the board to approve them as presented. And obviously Mrs. Schmick is here if there's any specific questions on them.
Do you have the kids already been given these as possibilities as they're signing up for new courses?
They are working through options. Some of these, the only ones that are things that they would be looking at right now would be the poetry. So they don't have full schedules yet, but they've potentially shown interest in, if they're interested in them, if they get approved, and life sciences. And human body systems is for next year at Washington as an extension of the PLTW that was offered this year. So that was the required offering for next
Do you
year.
have any idea how many kids are?
I don't have numbers right now. No, because not all the buildings have done all of their scheduling yet. But I think that especially like the human body systems, it's an extension of what they took this year. So there should be a decent amount there.
Do I hear a motion for item 3B, approval of new courses for the 2026-2027 school year?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Starr. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Mrs. McFalls. Okay, any more questions, comments?
Just for clarification, I was asked this evening if there was anything about German. So for clarification, there has not been any conversation about not having German at any of our 3 campuses. It may look a little different, and obviously, depending on the number of students that are enrolling in the class, might have some decision making. But there has not been any administrative, at least from this office, to say that we are not going to have any of the current languages being offered.
I guess I would have the question, do we have somebody qualified to teach sign language? Or are we looking at?
That would be partnership with an online, like Indiana Online. Yeah.
We've actually had more students ask about the ASL and trying to open that up. It's an option.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of item 3B, approval of new courses for the 2026-2027 school year, signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Motion passes 7-0. Next item is item 3C, approval of resolution 2026-3 flexibility waiver.
In prepping for the upcoming school year, East Porter County Schools has had the privilege and the honor of being a highly qualified school. So we have never really been held to the mark of making sure that we have 180 days. We got a little bit of flexibility with that, and the state is more concerned with the number of minutes that we are in session as opposed to the total number of days, being that our days are a little bit longer than some. We've been able to have, as the board may recall, the state gives us 3 non-sync days for e-learning. Currently, we schedule 4 every year because we utilize that time for professional development. 2 of them are on voting days, and then 2 of them are throughout the rest of the school year that we use here at the school for professional development. In addition to that, we have had some weather days, which I know everybody is really looking forward to this Friday, being that we will be back in session. But so we've had, up to this point, we're looking at 7, which we're still within our minutes. However, the new accountability and grades will be coming out this summer and next fall. So not knowing how that's going to take place, we are being proactive, and the state will allow us, if we can justify the rationale and show the impact, they could potentially grant us additional waivers to the 3. However, in order to do so, the first action is the state wants to know that our board supports that. So we are asking the board to approve the resolution as step 1, so that when Mrs. Schnick continues and finishes up the waiver process, we can demonstrate the board's support.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion for approval, item 3C, approval of resolution 2026-3 flexibility waiver? Moved by Mrs. Terpstra. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Oh, Mrs. Moore, seconded by Mrs. Moore. Is there any discussion or comments? We'll see none. We'll call the question. All those in favor of item 3C, signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Motion passes 7-0. Next item is item 3D, approval of gym floor recoding for Couts, Morgan, and Washington.
So one of the summer annual maintenance items is to have our floors recoated. And so we are asking the board to approve it as presented.
Do I hear a motion for approval of item 3D, floor recoding for Couts, Morgan, and Washington?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Martin. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Terpstra. Any comments or questions?
And yes, Mr. Martin, we do use the tarps over them. Hopefully you've noticed that we have been using the tarps more this year on the gym floors as we've had different events.
Yeah, I guess I would just encourage us. I think we are doing it less at some of the events where there's a lot of snow on the ground, and at Washington anyway. I don't know about,
Okay.
Couts was always pretty protective, and Morgan and Washington was, but it's harder to do it because there's a lot more traffic flow and comes in and out.
Sure. We'll
But and this is just, what's our policy at the other schools as far as kids coming in and out during actual basketball games? I realize this isn't on the agenda, but it is basketball floor related.
Technically, I will tell you, we do not have a policy that addresses that. However, there are guidelines that there really isn't anything that restricts. The only thing that we could do is potentially put up the rope like has been done, but it will require additional
Staffing to do it,
staffing.
or volunteer to do it. There is more and more traffic on these gym floors
Yes, there
during the, I guess my issue with it is knowing hardwood floors and a former coach, when they track salt on those babies, they
Right.
need to do those in
Yes,
a
sir.
heartbeat. I just think when we have salt days, we need to make sure if we have basketball games, we're protecting those floors. Because it's a big investment at all three sites.
Sure. We will touch base with not only our maintenance crew, but also our administration.
Any other questions, comments?
I have a question. I noticed, in the same as last year, you did pull up, the 2025. But, you know, obviously, everything is getting more expensive in general. Just wondering why we do annually as opposed to like biannually? Is that like a standard practice? Is that something that we just set for this quarter? Is that common with other schools?
To my understanding, that is best practice. Is it possible to make it a couple of years? I don't know. We can look at that. I know we had conversations about trying to utilize different product, but like even if you use more of a water solvent, it doesn't have the long lasting finish. And I know for us, with the amount of traffic that it gets, because it's our concert areas, it's our auditorium, we utilize it for gym, we utilize it for lunches. So therefore we tried to do that just to make it last longer. I will tell you that coming up, if we've got to go down to a sanding, we've got a couple of floors. It might be time to replace the floor because they've been sanded too many times. So right now we're just talking about scuffing them, getting them through, and we're not doing a big sand, but we do have a couple of floors, and weirdly enough, Washington's going to be one of them, because when they added on to the gym, they didn't replace the entire floor. They only did the new portion and then blended it in. But the old part, I guess there was some errors that were made when they first put it in and painted and stuff, that they've sanded it twice already. So it's going to be one of the first floors that we're going to have to replace.
Have we ever had to replace a section before? Like, I know there's maybe a manufacturer issue, but I mean, on for us, that's something we had to replace.
So there have been replacements because we had a pipe burst. Matter of fact, shortly after Kautz's new gym was put in, it had a frozen fire suppression, and so a portion of that floor has been replaced.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of item 3D, approval of gym floor recording of Kautz, Morgan, and Washington, signify by raising the hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 0. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is item 3E, approval of disposal of outstanding checks.
We are required to ask for permission to dispose of checks that are more than 2 years old. So these are just some outstanding checks that we'd like your permission to go ahead and put the money back in our funds.
Do I hear a motion for approval of item 3E, approval of disposal of outstanding checks?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Terpstra. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Starr. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of item 3E, approval of disposal of outstanding checks, signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Motion passes 7-0. Next item is item 3F, approval to dispose of stove and floor washer.
We just have a couple pieces of equipment that are no longer useful and are broken, so we're just looking to get rid of them out of our inventory. So we ask the board to approve as presented.
Do I hear a motion for item 3F, approval disposal of stove and floor washer?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. McFalls. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Terpstra. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor, item 3F, approval to dispose of stove and floor washer, signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Motion passes 7-0. Next item is item 3G, approval to replace Lippert AC unit.
So I asked if why we do not do cooling towers and put those major exhaust fans, sort of like what you see in Mission Impossible, but I was told that was a little overkill. So anyway, the unit that we have in there for the chilling of the servers, as you know, those server rooms get pretty toasty, and so we need to replace that chilling unit. So we're asking the board to approve it as presented.
Do I hear a motion for approval of item 3G, approval to replace the Lippert AC unit?
So move to replace it and to take a superior bid.
Okay, moved by Mr. Martin to take the superior bid, approval to replace. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. McFalls. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, then I take a vote here for item 3G, approval to replace Lippert AC unit and take the superior bid. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Motion passes 7-0.
And just for clarification, being that this is recorded, Superior is the name of the contractor, not just because it's the best.
Point of order. Huh? All right. Now we go to item H, which is approval of Key Club overnight field trip.
So we've got a group of kids that will be going down to Indianapolis for their annual hosted Key Club group. Thank you.
Do I hear a motion for approval of the Key Club overnight field trip?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. McFalls. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Moore. Is there any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of item 3H, approval of Key Club overnight field trip, signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Motion passes 7-0. Next item is item 3I, approval of Morgan and Washington Township overnight band, and I think it's a choir trip as well. So do I hear a motion for that?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. McFalls. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Bowersock. Okay. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, then I'll call the question. All those in favor of item 3I, approval of Morgan and Washington Township overnight band and choir trip, signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Motion passes 7-0. Next item is item 3J, approval administrative increases for the.
Before Jay is the Natural Helpers field trip.
Well, that must have changed.
So from when we initially met, yes, there was the Natural Helpers,
No,
that was the one that came in late.
That's
Yes,
J,
yes, Jay is Natural Helpers.
and K is approval administrative, and then
Yes.
L. And then, okay, got it, okay. So, do I hear a motion for approval of, natural? Okay, Morgan Township Natural Helpers overnight field trip. Moved by Mrs. Terpstra. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Starr. Any discussion? No, that's fine. I'm good. Any questions or comments? Then I'll call the question. All those in favor of the Morgan Township Natural helpers field trip signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Motion passes 7-0. Now we have item 3K. Approval administrative increases for the 2025-26 school year.
Normally, we do these a little bit earlier in the year. However, with the contract rate and looking at some different things, we're just looking at it to be equitable to what we received for our teachers, with 2 exceptions.
Do I hear a motion for approval of item 3K, approval administrative increases for the 2025-26 school year?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Martin. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Starr. Any questions or comments? Well, seeing none, to call the question. All those in favor of item 3K, approval administrative increases for the 25-26 school year signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Motion passes 7-0. Next item is 3L.
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 And this is one of those, on Friday, when I was finishing up looking at that, I noticed that we had another discussion item at our work session 2 weeks ago. And so just asking the board to approve the fee schedule for Little Stars Preschool, according to the discussion that we had during our work session.
Sure. Do I hear a motion for approval of the preschool fees for 2026-27?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. McFall. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Moore. Okay, questions or comments? What? Good.
I think it looks good.
Okay. Any more questions or comments? Seeing none, to call the question. All those in favor of item 3L, approval of the preschool fees for 2026-2027 school year, signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Motion passes 7-0. Next, we have closing items. What, any board member have any discussion? Anything they want to talk about? Okay. Then we have additional items from the superintendent.
So just a couple of things for you. You know, every month we talk about the generosity of our community and how well our community supports our school. So we have 3 different donations. I just want to publicly say thank you to the Welter Foundation for a $600 donation for Kautz's nurses' offices. Then we had a $999 from Van Gogh Incorporated to support the Morgan High School girls track team. And then there's another Van Gogh donation of $999 for the Morgan girls cross country team. So I'd like to say thank you to those donations, and the rest of the time for the superintendent report, I'd like to turn over to Dr. McDaniel to talk to the board briefly and the community about the superintendent search.
As you know, Dr. Case is retiring, and the board has asked the university search team to help with the search for the next superintendent. University search team is made up of 4 individuals, one from Purdue, one from Ball State, one from IU, and myself from Indiana State. We're all professors in educational administration, all former superintendents, lots of experience with working with school boards. We've been doing this, many of us, I've been doing it for about 15 years. We go into school corporations, we help them put together their application, their timeline, a survey, which you'll be seeing coming out in the next few weeks. We collect all the applications, we contact prospective candidates, we talk to candidates, we advertise across 3 different places that are known where people will apply for the position. And then we meet with the board and we recommend candidates that they should interview. Everything's a recommendation. The board can take our recommendations and do what they want with them. quite honestly. Usually they take our recommendations and interview the candidates that we recommend they interview. We look for people that are qualified. We look for people that would fit in your district, good qualified candidates. Once we're done with that, we step away and the board does the interviewing and hires the superintendent. We do not cost anything other than mileage. The university pays our salary. I'm retired, so I get a stipend to do this, but they pay us to do this for school boards as something that they can do back for the communities. So you benefit from your corporation not having to pay anything except for us to drive our way up here. And if you have any questions, I might be here after the meeting and glad to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McDaniel. If there isn't any more questions or comments, I will certainly entertain a motion for adjournment. Or we can stay here tonight.
I'm just gonna make a statement, and that is, I nearly voted no for my own motion just because I don't want Dr. Case to retire. I voted yes. I just want to say thank you for the 8 years you put in and for the good job that you've done.
You're welcome. Been my pleasure. I'll second that comment. Okay, then, what do you wish to make a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Been moved by Mrs. Terpstra. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bowersock. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor of adjournment, signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Motion passes 7-0. Good night and thank you for coming. It's always a pleasure having everything's here.
And on this.
I'm not gonna charge you for this one.
Yeah. Thank you.